And you're cool with me posting it on YouTube?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. So what's your name and or what do they call you?
I don't have any monikers or anything, but you can just call me Daniel.
Okay. Where did you grow up, and how old are you, and like what was your childhood like?
I grew up in well, I was born in Los Angeles County, but I lived most of my life in San Bernardino County and moved out here when I was 5.
Okay.
From LA. And what was the other part of the question?
Oh, what was your childhood like?
It was good. It was really good. It was a little rough in the beginning. There's been a lot of toxic relationships within my family.
Yeah.
But I had a stepfather and a mother who loved me very much, and they put me in all sorts of social programs to make sure I became a responsible and productive member of society. So unfortunately, I might have failed them a little bit.
Yeah.
But they, sports activities, clubs, self-defense, Boy Scouts, all that stuff. And yeah, it's just I always got 9 out of 10 yards in everything I did, though.
Yeah.
It's I guess there's just some part of me where the steam engine just kind of runs out, or
yeah,
maybe it's overworked a little bit.
Okay. What do you think your goal was with all that?
Yeah, like I said, just to make sure that I didn't end up on the streets, I guess. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably what they're into, make sure I'm a peaceful and kind person.
Yeah, I've ended up on the streets many times. How do people that are not that are homed people, how do they treat you? In general, how do people treat you?
For the most part, pretty good. It's every once in a while I'll run into a bad egg, and I try not to let it get me down. But I grew up very sheltered, so it's living this lifestyle is a little rough.
Yeah.
Especially when I meet someone who's about the streets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I do a pretty good job at sticking up for myself without being offensive.
That's right.
So I try to, initially I treat everyone with kindness and respect, but if I see someone, wilding out, I guess, then I'm quick to say something too. And
do you feel I always felt it's almost the opposite rules apply out here?
Yeah, exactly.
Kindness is taken for weakness, generosity is taken as a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's we have to I don't know. I felt I had to it was a role reversal.
Yes.
Almost. But how do people on the street is that your interaction been negative or positive overall? Or?
It depends where I'm at. Recently, some brother came up to me and I don't hand out my phone to anybody, but that's what he wanted.
Yes, yeah. Don't ever do that. Please.
Yeah, and so
that's a big.
I told him not to approach me, and he just kept getting closer, was getting all in my face, and I was ready to throw down, but I was a little taller, but he was a little wider, so
yeah,
I don't want to do anything that's gonna end me up back in jail, because I've had multiple misdemeanors, and so each time I go back, I have to serve more time, and so I'm just trying to avoid all sorts of conflict, and which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it's good because it keeps me out of trouble, but bad because it makes me feel cowardly when I just have to.
It's a fine line, right?
Yeah.
You don't want them to sense that.
Yep.
But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But in Pomona too, that's I have a job lined out there as a lifeguard over the summer.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different country, man.
It is. It is.
The homeless people out here, they do a pretty good job at taking care of themselves and not being seen. But out there, it's it's just people lose all sense of self-respect for themselves. They don't take care of themselves. They don't clean up after themselves. And I do a pretty good job at conserving my money. So for emergency situations, so I can afford a gym membership with a shower, so I can
okay, that puts you in the upper echelon of out on the streets, though, because most people, for me, that was never the case.
Yeah,
I could never get things together enough, because I would lose my ID, I would lose my
when I was drinking and using, I never did anything hard. It was just pot and alcohol, dazed and confused,
Yeah.
And when I was like that, you know, it just seemed like every curse would follow me. And,
Right.
you know, there's a part of me that's always going to miss that lifestyle. But, like, I'm almost 30 now. And just, like, I just want things to be all right for me. And, like, unfortunately, we live in a society that, like, doesn't, like, value, like, different perspectives on, like, the drug culture. And,
Right.
and so I used to be all in support of, like, doing whatever you want. But, like, as I've grown older and, like, these rules have, like, you know, guided my path, I find myself more in favor for, like, you know, just, like, classical American values and stuff. And so,
You mean like the Old West?
not like the Old West, just like I'm thinking more like founding fathers, like as
So prior to that, like,
yeah, like I think the Constitution was like the greatest piece of paper ever written.
okay.
And so, you know, it grants you a lot of freedoms, but like,
But there's been a lot of amendments since
yeah,
then.
there's been a lot, which, you know,
And a lot of bureaucracy.
yeah, I think that's like more of a clarification of like people's ninth right, which they don't know what that is. Most people, like, they think you have all this list of rights, but they never get down the full list. And like pretty much that is like your rights can be enumerated or taken away under any circumstance. So like, you know, you abuse your rights, you have the right to get them taken away too. So it's like, you know, this country is like a republic. And so like that, like, unfortunately, there's a lot of bureaucracy and administration and oligarchy, and that has its own faults.
Yeah.
But like, if like without rules and regulations, you know, society tends to deteriorate. I mean, you look at like all the third world countries right now; they're even worse than a third world country because
Right.
because they didn't respect like order and hierarchy.
Do you feel that there's a correlation between high levels of intelligence and homelessness, like as in like rejecting the system at large and then therefore ending up out here?
I think that's a stepping stone. Like, so yes, I do think there's I think there's intelligent people.
Yeah, because Hitler was homeless.
I'm sorry?
Hitler was homeless.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was homeless for a couple of years.
I just know he was a failed artist. And,
yeah, that is that too.
He was actually a pretty good painter, but like they said, he was too cold and lifeless.
Yeah, there's that part.
Yeah, and
a lot of famous figures in history have been out on the streets because it's almost like desolation sets the stage for greatness.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a Phoenix point of view, you know. I like that.
What do you think you could have done to prevent getting out here on these streets?
I think the first thing I should have done is I should have joined the military right outside of high school. But like, I had this like, you know, kind of like liberal like teachings, which wasn't what was originally instilled in me, but like I felt a need to like escape conformity and like the things I had talked about previously.
Right.
And so like I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to like feel freedom and like but like by participating in that, you know, it just got worse for me.
I mean, the military is an extreme version of a dominance hierarchy. Like that's the exact opposite of
well, you know, yeah. And so like, you know, I wanted to do it because I felt like, well, one, I wanted to serve my country. Two, I felt like it would have taken care of me. But then like I see all these homeless veterans anyways that like don't get like a handout for anything. And,
right. Right. I've been a homeless veteran before.
Yeah. So like, you know, I wish there was like one like right track mind solution to all this, but like I find myself battling in my own head, like over which perspectives I have and which ones I should support, and like, yeah, it's just like everyone's got to find their own way, and like, you know, hopefully society can come together and like help those in need, and like at the same time people like put in the work to like, you know, help themselves at the same time too. Like I think both of those would be
this
beneficial.
Wasn't one of my questions, but do you think a two-party system works in America?
You know, it depends. Yeah, I think it does. I think, you know, you look at the UK and they've got like so many different parties, and like everyone is like so like British kindness isn't a thing anymore. You know, like it's like due to like the new world, like politics has become more of like a game of like defense and pointing fingers rather than like making like supportive policies. And so the way it used to work for like the last, I think, uh, 16 years before Trump's election and part of Biden's election is like the Democrats would pass bills and it was up to the Republicans to block them. But now the Republicans are in a state of power to where they're the one passing bills and it's up to Democrats to block them. And so, you know, I think the Democrats got a lot of good work done. But like, I was listening to something on the internet the other day with another homeless friend of mine, and he was pretty much what it was saying was like, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions and bad incentives.
Okay.
So like, you know, you can give out these handouts to people, but like if you don't give them an incentive to like rise above that, then like nothing's ever gonna get fixed. And so I worry that, you know, and like even then, like the policies that the Republicans are passing, like definitely like that they're not trying to take away the good intentions of these social programs. They're just trying to provide incentives. And so like, you know, I used to be all into conspiracy theories and stuff. And like, while I still believe some of them and a lot of them have a lot of weight to them, I feel like keeping a positive perspective keeps me from like deteriorating both mentally and physically. So
Do you think we're entering in a world right now where humans are going to rely more and more on artificial intelligence to think for them?
yeah. Well,
how do you think that'll pan out in the political arena?
I think,
or for humanity in general?
I think learning like college level logic is like philosophy is
You've been to college?
Yeah, I did 3 years at Cal State San Bernardino.
Okay.
I'm still in my sophomore standing. I plan on going back for like a biochem degree and like entering the medical field. If I can ever pay off my debt first, because you know I can't afford to do it without FAFSA. So like because I dropped out, I have to pay off my last semester's worth of tuition before I can get approved for FAFSA in return. So you know, hopefully this lifeguarding job, I'll pay it off by the end of the summer and be back in school in the fall if everything goes to my plan.
Do you have any plans to get off the streets?
Yeah. So you know, it's pay off my debt first and then work simultaneously and go back to school and take out loans to, you know, enter a STEM field.
What's your day-to-day life like out here? Like,
it's just like cleaning up after myself, eating, working out, and playing you ever get the Google non-internet service where you get the T-Rex game, you jump over cactuses and pterodactyls? I do that a lot too.
Okay. Yeah. Do you get harassed by law enforcement at all?
No, I used to, but that's like when I was like actively drinking and using.
Okay.
And you know, I still get stopped by them every once in a while. Like I was just stopped last night by an officer who had arrested me in the past, and you know, I just tried to be as courteous, polite as possible, not seem like a manic person. And you know, he just checked my ID, checked to see if there was a trespassing policy on the piece of grass I was laying on.
Right.
And you know, luckily I don't have any warrants or anything like that, or pending charges. So and there was there wasn't a trespassing like code there. So it's like as long as like none of the managers call me, it's like you're free to stay here for the night. And so, you know, one cool thing I think that the Democrats just passed is you know, for the homeless people, they gave you the right to rest. So, you know, it used to be shelter
in California or federal.
I think it's just state. I think it's just in California. I could be wrong though.
Well, that's really cool. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, so it's like you want to like, you know, you can't pitch your tent up and just like stay somewhere for like a numerous of days, but like if you want to sleep for the night, you know, hopefully you're in a safe enough area to do that.
That's good because
I have that right.
Back in 2013, I think I was arrested something like at least over 10 times, and I felt like there was nowhere I could safely sleep without being, unsafe. Let's
Yeah,
put it that way.
yeah. Unfortunately, like there's so much like identity politics going on, and you know, it's just like, and world history has been really skewed in order to keep like the the unfortunate truth of like some people's like truths
Yeah, yeah,
secret. And
right.
you know, I think it's wise just to like always check things twice and keep a healthy perspective, and
Okay,
just make sure you're dealing with good people. And
absolutely.
yeah,
And that's hard to judge it out on the streets because typically people out here, like, they're out here for a reason and you don't know what that reason is. It
yeah,
could be something benign or it could be, they could be malevolent,
yeah, exactly. And like that's why I try to stay away from most people in general, just because like I don't want to like learn something about them that they want me to keep secrets, or like I don't want to enter into like any sort of dirty business dealings either.
Right.
And so, you know, I try to just keep my space and give people their space, give people respect, and hopefully I get the same kindness back.
So if a viewer were to become homeless tomorrow, what would your one piece of advice be?
My first piece of advice would be go to like any social services building or administration you can. Uh, you know, hopefully, you know, you've got someone that's got connections that could get you approved for those sort of things. You know, I'm not gonna like try and keep yourself clean. Look for proper employment, and if you have to, I'm not gonna encourage you to lie or steal, but like if when before I was approved for like food stamps, I would steal a candy bar.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to survive. You have to live.
Exactly. So like,
Yeah.
you know, and like the most cops, like, they see you don't got any social services. They'll look your record. They have access to all that stuff, and like they see you, they see you doing what you got to do. They'll understand. And as long as you behave yourself and explain your situation clearly, you should, like, trouble shouldn't follow you. So like I would just say conduct yourself properly, spend your time wisely, and try to get the resources and help you need. And like that's not, sometimes that might be therapy, but like I feel like if you're sober, then like you shouldn't have to see a psychiatrist. And,
Right.
and like if you're about like that gangster lifestyle, I would just say like I'll pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's fun. It's fun at first, but it gets stale real fast.
Yeah. Well, it can lead to death.
Yeah.
Or a lifetime of incarceration.
Yeah. So that's what I learned.
At
like,
best, there's other things that can happen.
Jails,
worse than
institution, or death are your
correct.
Pretty much only options if you live that life here. And I wish there was a way to do that kind of stuff and have it be as like fun and as harmless as I once thought it was. But maybe I'm just ignorant.
If anybody would like to send you a donation, like via Cash App or something, do you have a way they can send you money?
Yeah, I haven't made one yet, but like I guess I'll make one right now, and then you can just put it in the description.
Okay. And if you want to give me an email and people wanted to reach out to you, like I have no idea what the response will be on these things. It could be insane or it could be nobody.
Yeah. Well, so like I said, if you see me, you say what's up. You can say hi. If you want to make a donation, we'll leave it in the description. And my final piece of advice for anyone who like becomes homeless is like, make sure you're taking care of yourself the right way.
That's right.